I tried to back away unobserved, but he noticed me and called me over. "Hey, Morty," he said as he vigorously pulled a cue from the rack, causing several more to crash to the floor. "You want to play a game of 8-ball, maybe?" There seemed to be no escaping it, now that he had drawn the attention of everyone in the Commons, and I thought I shouldn't begrudge him a little friendliness now and then, since he was a classmate. "Sure," I said. "Sure, might as well. You seem to have dropped something." No problem," he said, picking up a warped cue and thrusting it at me. "Here, you can break." It was undoubtedly salutary for the physical integrity of the pool balls, not to mention that of innocent bystanders, that he offered to let me do the honors, as I knew from past experience that he took the metaphor literally. I was about to make my initial shot when he cut in. "Say," he said, "did I tell you that I've got a work-study job at the Funfermeister?" For those readers unfamiliar with it, the Louis T. and Ernestine R. Funfermeister Museum was home to Lotmu's impressive collection of ancient artifacts, many of them quite fragile, and one had to question the judgment of the conservators in allowing Alvy anywhere near them. "Or at least I did have a job there until last Friday," he continued, as I went back to sizing up my shot. "They had me identifying some Roman coins that came in. They've got lots of stuff coming in, and I was doing the coins. It was fun. I got to measure them and write down descriptions of them and look them up in the catalog. But then I got fired." "I shouldn't wonder," I said. "Yeah, I lost one of the coins, and that's what they said, and now they won't let me back in there anymore." "Lost a coin?" I inquired with imperfectly disguised irritation after miscuing badly and sending the white ball straight into a corner pocket. "It was one of those little silver ones that had a picture of Pompeii on it. Have you by any chance seen it anywhere?" I offered him a quizzical look, which was the most I could manage. "I guess I lost it. I don't know, but Professor Nukin doesn't believe me," he continued, referring to the director of the Funfermeister. "He thinks I stole it." "Did you?" "No. Why would I steal a Roman coin? You can't spend it anywhere, except maybe in Rome, I suppose. I'll bet somebody else took it, and they're trying to pin it on me. That's what I think. Boy, it makes me mad. I've got half a mind to—" I was all set to agree energetically with him, whatever the rest of his sentence turned out to be, when I saw that he had been diverted by the appearance at the far end of the parlor of a gangly, but not unattractive, female third year in our department, known to the legions at Lotmu who were her intimates, as well as to the handful who weren't, as Melissa Flitt. She looked around, but apparently didn't see us, or was looking for something else, and then rapidly turned and disappeared. "Say, that was Melissa," Alvy said. "You know what? I've been thinking of getting married to her." "Oh, really? You're thinking of getting married to Melissa?" This struck me as implausible because Melissa was a marginally sensible woman. I'd always thought Alvy would be more suitably matched with Mashi Mikulchuk's brawny kid sister, Amethyst, who was a drill sergeant in the Army. "I guess so," he said. "Is there anyone else I should be thinking about, do you think?" I surveyed the pool table. "If you're contemplating marrying Melissa, then you probably shouldn't be thinking about anyone else, right? But the important thing is Melissa in love with you?" "I don't know. Do you know how you can tell?" "I'm pretty sure women have a way of showing it when they're in love." "Yes, I suppose they probably would," he scrunched up his face into an approximation of a thoughtful lump of pizza dough. "What do they do exactly?" I hated to reveal the riches of my romantic experience on the spot, but I also didn't want to give him something that he could pester me about for the rest of the term. The ones I've had experience with generally say something that tips you off, like when you're talking about baseball, they might slip babies into the conversation. Has Melissa done anything like that? "Oh," he said, "the thing is, I'm just not sure whether she has. I mean, she said things, but with Melissa sometimes I'm not sure what she means." I banked a shot into a side pocket, the white ball again, and had begun to take more than a moderate disliking to my cue. So why do you want to get married? I knew you were going out with her, but I didn't realize you were looking for a lifetime commitment. Well, we've gotten pretty close, you know, he said. And here, because a guy doesn't want to disparage another guy's girlfriend to his face, especially when the other guy has the basic musculature of a gorilla, I didn't interject that, to my knowledge, she had been close with three-quarters of the student population and quite a few of the faculty and administrative staff as well, without any of it having so far led to marriage. Like, we talk a lot, he continued. And the thing is, it turns out we both like the same color. And I was just thinking, it would be so neat to be married to someone who likes magenta as much as I do. You don't like magenta, by the way, do you, Morty? No, I didn't think so. But see, when I saw Melissa last night, she told me she'd heard that Sonny had just gotten engaged to that Phil Hexter guy from the law school. And I thought that sounded nice and kind of homey, getting engaged to be married, you know. And I might like it myself with Melissa. I wonder if they both have the same favorite color. I like to demonstrate to the few people who paid any attention to me at all then that I wasn't an excitable sort like Alvy, but I couldn't hide my consternation that Sonny was now considering marital bliss with Philip Dankovy Hexter III. What? I sputtered. Sonny Lee's engaged to the anchovy? Was Melissa sure about this? I suppose so. Would you like to go over to Ben's to celebrate? I think Melissa said there would be a group going there this afternoon. Celebrate? I sputtered again, making sure to wipe my mouth this time on my sleeve for decorum's sake. Is there anything to celebrate when a terrifically classy woman like Sonny Lee condemns herself to a life of fealty to a man who probably doesn't know the first thing about philology? Besides, I just came from Ben's, and it's very lucky for that future pettifogger that he wasn't there, or I would have flung a few choice philological terms his way, believe you me. I'd given up on the pool game, returning my curiously shaped cue to the rack, but Alvy was still gamely trying to figure out what his best shot was. After setting the cue ball halfway across the room, he said, I wonder if she'll stay in the program with us. Of course, that wasn't really the right thing to strike either, right note to strike either, if his object had been to calm the troubled scholar beside him who, I'm afraid to admit, had begun to pace. I'd just come from listening to Massey announce that he was on his way out of the program himself, and now there seemed to be a possibility that Sonny would be ditching us too, in addition to running off with a guy who had a number at the end of his name. What's the sudden need everyone seems to feel around here to change their marital and professional status? I querulously mooted. Where's the old philological spirit? I was, as you can see, getting myself a tad hot under the collarless shirt I was wearing. I thought I should probably consider repairing to my room before the lid began levitating on the strength of the steam that was building within. It's entirely possible that it was Alvy's presence that was adding kindling to the fire and causing my blood to simmer, though I concede the news about Sonny was disturbing enough in itself. I did not at all like Philip the Anchovy Hexter, the legal eaglet Sonny had recently been going around with, and the thought that she would soon be sauntering down the aisle with him was anathema to me for all the aforementioned reasons and probably several others I hadn't yet thought of. The whole business didn't accord with my temperament. I'd been drawn to philology, not in the least part, because the ancients generally stayed put and didn't go galloping around like so many ponies loosed from their corral. With Horace, what you got was always just the same old Horace, the same old oeuvre of odes, epodes, satires, and epistles, never changing no matter how many times you went back to it. He never tried to surprise you by suddenly running off with your classmate or getting his MBA. Another thing was that if you kept at your philological drudgery long enough, even if you didn't necessarily arrive where you'd hoped, you were still pretty much guaranteed to receive some sort of degree or letter of good attendance or Purple Heart or something after your many years at Latmia. It wasn't as if you'd turn around one day to find your sheepskin pinned to some law student's gown. I'm sorry, I said, trying to calm myself down. I've only just now realized I have a previous engagement with one of Horace's odes, so I think I'll go back to the dorm. Are you going to join that group at Ben's? No, he said, I can't. I'm supposed to meet Melissa here. She has one of my books she's going to give back to me. When she comes, I think I'm going to propose to her. But, I said, she was just here. You saw her. Oh, yeah, he said, you're right. I wonder where she went. Maybe I should go look for her.